Hey guys, gonna show you my Harley 48 that I've done up, and just to explain the video, this is kind of a tribute video. When I got into this, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with the bike. I had a stock Enfield Interceptor for over 30 years, and it was to the T stock, had to be stock, and got into this and all the gloves were off. I was going to create something that really appealed to me. So tons of YouTube videos and hours watching, and I ran into this guy on the internet. Don't know what his name is, but he really put me in the direction I wanted to go. I loved his bike. I loved what he did to it. And you can check him out there. He's got a great video. They're over 1 million views. And so, okay, I knew what platform I wanted to start with. It was a 48. So I took his ideas and went and bought that bike. All right, so that's what I started out with, is a 2014 Harley 48 XL 1200X. And the only caveats I had to have is I didn't like the mag wheels. Had to be spoke wheels. And then I ran with it, and this is what we got. So I'll show you what I come up with. So obviously you're not a 48 anymore. It's quite different. So I was fortunate. I picked this up last March. Today's 2019 of May. And it only had 2,300 kilometers on it. Up in Canada it's kilometers, not miles, so even less, like less than probably 1,800 miles. And fortunate thing for me is a ton of money had already spent. It already had the heavy air breather intake, Vance and Hines pipes, and the stage 1 upgrade, so that saved me a ton of money right out of the gate. So first thing I did is I got a whole bunch of parts on order. A guy named Whalen at Barnes Harley out here in Langley, fantastic guy, spent so much time with me getting everything on order and brought in. I was already here before I bought the bike. I bought the bike sight unseen, and I had to wait for it to be shipped down from up country. And when it got here, I took the bike into Denko Motorsports in Cloverdale and had them change everything over for me. Reason being, I got issues with my eyesight, and my hands eyes don't work together too well anymore. So I hired Denko, and they were absolutely fantastic. So first thing I did is I went with the 4.5 gallon tank, and along with that I got the flush gas cap, same as what that guy did. It's fantastic. You just push it, pops up, unscrews, and it's really easy to use. What I would suggest though is when you wash it, leave the cap popped, because I find water gets in there a little bit, and you don't want water getting in there when you go to fill it up again. So anyway, that works really well. Back up a little bit. So also I was going to go with the drag bars. I really like the look of the drag bars he had on that bike, but I got a bit of a sciatic nerve thing going on, and I really didn't want to be hammering my back in that lean forward position. So I was at a bike show with a buddy of mine last year and saw these bars on one of their larger bikes Harley had, and fell in love with it immediately. You know, it's got that swept back look to it. It gives me up a little more vertical, but it's still down low, and it looks really well. When you come around, I'll show you that in a little bit. So what else did I do? Oh, I did a complete delete of all the reflectors. All the yellow and red reflectors are gone. I think it really took away and made it look like I just didn't like it. And I went with the white wall tires. I'm kind of going, like, I was going for the drag bike look like that, and I started putting this together, and I took that left turn to Albuquerque and kind of went with a retro look, retro feeling bike. I like that old school type of flair to it, so I put the headlight peak on just to give it that flair, and the white walls kind of brings out that old school appeal. What else did I do? I did a delete on the orange lens covers on the back and the front, and went with a smoked look, and you get an amber light bulb with the kit. Kind of takes that. I found all that was really distracting, the reflectors and the orange, and it just took away from it. Your eyes went there instead of where the should have been going, right? Also, I changed out the tail light. What I did is I did not like the cheesiest freaking license plate mount Harley ever come up with, this stupid looking tin thing that comes up here, and it looks ugly. So I was going to do the the fender cut with the LEDs across there. And then I step back and I look, I go, no, I like the full fender look. It gives it that old school appeal again. So I went with that, and I went and got this LED running and brake light system. And then I had an issue. There was these god-awful holes. They weren't even symmetric. They just where the wiring and the bolts went for the license plate. And so what I ended up doing, I was thinking, okay, can I put a Harley decal on there or something? And then Whalen at Barnes, he suggested, why don't you put one of these on? I had them on the shelf, so I picked that up, and it really works well. Hides all of those mounting holes that look like crap. And so when I did that, also, because it's toned down, there's no reflectors in back, I'm really afraid of getting nailed from behind, right? So what I did is I saw at another trade show, it's called a third brake light interrupter or something like that, where you apply the brake, it gives it a few flashes and then goes to solid, and it really brings the attention to whoever's behind you. Oh, this guy's braking. I'll show you if you want to come back here. I'll show you how that runs. So I'll do an application here, right? Then it goes on, and that's fully adjustable. You can adjust how many flashes before it goes solid, and how quick it flashes. All right. Well, here's the thing. Harley sells that, and they wanted over $100 for it. My son found that online for me for like 23 bucks, delivered to my door next day. Right? Yeah, you really got to do some shopping around when it comes to this stuff. So also, what I did last year is, obviously I deleted the license plate from here. I put it on the side. Now there is a million options to go with that, and I was looking at this aftermarket stuff where they did a we'll come around. They do a mount off of the swing arm in the bottom here, and your plate sits down low like that. Look kind of cool, but anything that's hammering around with the swing arm, man, it's going to get, metal fatigue's going to set in. I'm sure the thing's going to disappear. So once again, my dude Whalen, my buddy there, he got me into this. If I hit anything, it collapses. What it is, you take this spacer off from the inside of the light. You put that on, and it's all billet aluminum down into here. It's got 2 LED lights. It really lights it up well at night. Works really, really well. Now this was this was the biggest pain in the whole bike about getting parts, because it changed the positioning, the spacing on the light. So I had to do the same on the other side, and trying to find the appropriate size spacer and getting these lights in and off from in behind. It's yeah, I don't know, not comfortable. Anyway, so that's what I ended up doing with that. Oh, while we're around here at the same time, I also picked up this saddle bag from Viking. This is an absolute fantastic bag, swing arm bag. Fits the bike perfectly. The mounting is really, really well designed. And if you go and you're interested in a saddle bag or a swing arm bag for these things, man, it's like there's 1,000,001 of them out there. And I probably looked at 1,000,001 before I pulled the trigger on this. Don't regret it one bit whatsoever. Really, really nice hard case with a separate flap inside. It's a little deceiving. You can get quite a bit in this thing. I'm quite pleased with that. Also, what I did is I was considering doing away. Here's another silly thing. That's a clutch cover in my opinion, but Harley calls it a derby cover, if you can believe that. I'm sure you know that. Silly names. Just like that kickstand isn't called a kickstand. They got some goofy name for that. So anyway, I was being vocal about changing this, and lo and behold, Santa Claus put that underneath the tree for me last year. So I was really happy with that. Kind of blends in all the rippled black paint, and you know, I don't know why that. I'm sure they made it aluminum just so they can sell you one of these later on, right? So what else did I do over here? Oh yeah, the badges. Like, I was going to go with a clean canvas, just like the guy in the snapshot there. So I ordered the tank without the badges, and it showed up with these badges, and I thought, okay, well, we'll give it a try and see what it's like. And actually, I'm really happy with them, so I'm going to leave that on there. What else? This smartest thing I ever bought for the bike. Come on back over here. So when I bought the bike, the guy who had it before me, he switched out the original stock seat, which they looked really nice, little tiny seat, and switched it out to a La Pera seat. Not a cheap seat. All leather, and was comfy to sit on for about 25 minutes. And the stock one, in my opinion, is about 25 minutes. You go riding, I had a friend of mine, I used to belong to a British club here, still do, and he saw what I had and he said, I got a friend with one of those. He says, calls it an hour-long bike, because that's how long you're good for. And I said, no, you're wrong, it's about half an hour. So, not only that, this thing, the torque on this thing is unbelievable. Like, when you grab a handful, you really got to hang on for dear life or you're off the back of the bike. Like, there was nothing to keep you planted in this seat, right? So, I knew I was going to get rid of that seat, and I went with this. This is a Mustang seat, specifically designed for this bike with that tank. The fit and finish is absolutely top drawer. I even emailed them, sent some pictures about how pleased I was. I was absolutely ecstatic about how this felt with my butt in there. The headline with the email was, my new seat, the one that saved my ass. All right. I got this last month and went right on, one bolt. And it's like this, it's like saddlery work. Their fit and finish and the materials is top drawer. I can't say enough about Mustang and the product they brought out. So I go for a ride. I went for a 4-hour ride 2 weekends ago. I got home and it felt like I was gone for 10 minutes. Never once was I trying to find that better, more comfortable position in the seat. Not only that, that right there, man, you can lay it on real hard and you're planted. You're not going anywhere. It gives you that so much more confidence. Like, you know, you're perfect. I was going to be gone, right? Changed the foot pegs. Didn't really like the stock ones, and the first time I rode this thing, they got that little tab that scared the shit out of me. I damn near crap my pants. What is this? Off that came right away, and then they look pretty cheesy, so I went with these. It's got the Harley logo in the front, really nice fit and finish to it, and it had the tab down there. I took that out, right? The controls, I really like those. I'm happy with them. I'm gonna leave them. Also the grips, stock ones, they were a little cheesy, I thought, so Denko put these on for me when they did the race of the bike. It's got a nice little accent here, kind of brings things together. What else did I do? That's pretty well getting down to it. So with the heavy breather, in the wintertime, I spent a few hours with the Dremel tool, and I took a couple of these ribs out underneath. Don't have to show that. And continued with the accents and just a little bit more air in underneath. I'm really impressed with this thing. Like, and it's, you know, it's obviously something I've done for myself. It's what I was after, and I'm so happy with it. I'm just ecstatic. That's about it. So my assistant, my daughter here, Andrea, say hello, Andrea.
Hello.
She'll hopefully, if the pictures didn't show up at the beginning, we'll get them inserted. And yeah, so this is just some other direction. There's a million videos, guys, that put 4.5 gallon tanks on there. Oh, come on back, and I just wanted to show you one more thing. So you take a look right here, and how I was talking about the bars, how the bars sweep and it matches with the tank, and you know, the layout. It's like, man, if Harley, in my opinion, if Harley had brains, they'd be building a bike like this and throwing it on the showroom floor. It would move, man. Anyway, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. I'm sure she'll put a little blurb down the bottom where you can tell me if it sucks or you think it's cool, or if you got any other ideas. You see where I'm going with this, or I haven't thought about anything. I'm like there. Oh, one thing I would love to do, but Santa Claus ain't got deep pockets like that, is I'd like to do like a stage 3 or stage 4 upgrade on the motor. But that's a lot of jingle, man. And Jim's pockets ain't that deep either, little Santa Claus's. So outside of that, I think I'm there, and yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks.